Good morning everyone and welcome back to Patchy Pony Stitcher. My name's Mel and I'm coming to you from Tasmania, Australia. I forgot to introduce myself last video, so I do apologise. This is Floss tube number 17 and it is the wrap up of my Maynia, so the last week and the last extra days of Maynia, as it's June 1 today, officially the first day of winter. Yes, we're in winter. So this video is going to be about my final week and the last little bit in May. I've wrapped it all into one vlog. You'll see everything that I've worked on as we come to the end of the 31st of May. And I must say, I really enjoyed Maynia. It will be something I'll be doing next year. I really liked doing the starts. And just sort of, I've only ever been, not a monogamous stitcher, but I've only had maybe, when I started Floss Tube, I only had one, and then it grew to 4, and then when I started Maynia, I had 7. So to now have 31 whips, I actually don't feel stressed about it. I like it. I like having the variety to choose from, and it also helps me with my challenges for Shel McKinney's group on Facebook for the 30 minutes a day group. So I'm really enjoying having all my different whips to choose from. I've got a sal in there, actually 2 sals in there, which I'll be working on to keep up with the sals. Lots of little starts, lots of little projects and some few big ones too. So lots of different variety. So before we get to the vlog, it's time to pack down autumn. So I'm going to give you a quick display, a quick show of what my autumn display was before I pull that down and put my winter one up today. So enjoy, and I'll come back to you at the end of the video. Before watching Chelsea and Priscilla's home tours, I never really took into consideration doing any home display decorations for seasonal or holidays other than Christmas. Everything else just stayed out for the 11 months of the year, and it gets boring. So this year, this is my first seasonal display. I've never done it before, and I just grabbed bits and pieces from around the house and tried to add them together to bring it into an interesting display. Now, I have been collecting apples for quite some time, and this is just a small amount of my decorational apples that I just popped onto a cake display stand. I've got a little glass jar there of fake acorns that I got from wish.com. I've got that's a fresh pumpkin out of the garden. Some quail eggs in a bucket, and a lovely autumn card from Shel McKinney. So this is my autumn display for 2019, and that will come down today and winter will go up, which I'm actually looking forward to. So again, pulling all this down, putting these items away and scouring around for what else I can find, and Yule Queen will be going up there with it. So this is where I got to on the Winter Squirrel by the Blue Flower, and I really like how this is coming along. It's a nice, just a nice stitch. Even weave also makes it nice and easy. So this is a fabric that I dyed myself, and this is how far I got with it. I do need to keep reminding myself that I don't have to make a massive start. It is Stitch Mania, and it's all about just starting new projects. So that's all that I could squeeze into yesterday. So let's have a look and see what we get for today. So we've got Thursday the 23rd of May, so whip number 23, and it's spun Frosty Forest from Country Cottage Needleworks. Now, I won this chart from Shelley at Key X Stitch. So thanks, Shelley. It's going to get started today. So we've got the DMC thread that it's called for. So it is done in, this is the DMC conversion of what's called for. It is done in Fancy Floss. And I'm using a little bit more of my 20 count blue Ada that I did the teeny weeny biquinis on, which I really enjoyed using this Ada. It was nice and soft and just so nice to work with. It sort of reaffirmed to me that I do actually like Ada. So let's get a start on Frosty Forest and see where we get to. I'll touch back in soon. This is where I got to with Frosty Forest last night. I ended up swapping out the 3364 and adding in a variegated weeks floss that I had. It's not completely similar in colour, it's actually quite different, but in the chart, if I can, you can't really see, but it is variegated on the model that they've used. So I went to my stash and this was the closest thing I had to the 3364, but I'm really pleased how it turned out. Now this is a 20 count aider, and I did start doing this 2/1, and I didn't like it. It was really bulky. So I probably got the first 2 bottom bits of the tree done, and I decided to pull it out and restart at 1/1, which I'm really quite happy about. It sits a lot nicer, which concerns me because the teeny weeny bikini I started doing in 2/1. That didn't look bulky, but I'll keep that in the memory bank for when I go back to that, because when I did that one, that was only words, so being single stitches didn't give that bulkiness, but when you're doing stitches side by side, the bulkiness was quite evident. So we'll be working on this one 1/1, and we'll pop this away till it comes out to play in June, and we'll see what we get for today. Mary U is going to be my 24th whip for the 24th of May. I was lucky enough to receive this chart also from Shelley at Shelley KX Stitch as a giveaway. So this one is a sweet little one in a tart tin, so I'll have to keep my eye out at what we call the charity shops here in Australia, or thrift store, for a little tart tin. So I'm doing this one. This one's also got fancy flosses, but I'm going to be doing it on the DMC. Most of my Maynia is virtually using Stitch from Stash, trying to use up all the goodies that I've sort of stored and leftover bits and pieces. So I'm using some 14 count tea-dyed Ada that I've dyed myself, quite a large bit, but we'll cut that off once we've done it, and some threads, sorry for the finger there. Now I'm going to use some more of this linen thread that I received. With one of my whips before, I mentioned it got a bit fuzzy, so I'll try and keep that a bit shorter to see if it's a bit easier to work with. But I'm going to be working on the trees in green today and trying to get a couple of the trees done. So I may not get to the linen thread to report back how that went. But I'll check back in with you once I've got a few trees done. Have a good day, guys. This is where I got to with Mary U today. I managed to get 2 trees in, so I was happy with that. That's 200 stitches. So it's the only thing that, as I'm stitching this today, I'm like, there's a lot of full coverage where that snow is. So literally all behind the trees there, right up to the sheep's feet, it's all full coverage. And I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do that. So we'll see how we go. I might just put some white clumps of snow in it. I hate doing just one colour and lots of it. There are some snowflakes in there, so I'd have to change the colours a little bit so you can see the snowflakes a bit more. But we'll see how we go. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully, quilting bee. Whip number 25 is going to be Poppies, which is out of a book called Stitched Cards and Gift Tags, which I picked up off an unloading on Facebook. It's got some lovely cards in it, but this one I particularly like because it represents our Remembrance Day and also our Anzac Day for the fallen soldiers. So Poppies is something that you wear on Remembrance Day, so I'm going to stitch that to have it on display in the home. It's only going to be small. I've chosen a little bit of even weave from a grab bag. I think it is maybe 36, doing it in the called for DMCs. So a nice little quick stitch. It's really only sort of 50 by 50. It's Saturday night, so I can't imagine I'm going to get too much actually stitched, but this is the one that I'm going to be doing. So I'll check back in with you once that's, well, maybe I'll check back in with you tomorrow morning to show you where I got to on Poppies. So this is where I got to with the poppy yesterday. Not quite a full head of petals, but so close, but I'm ready to start on today's Maynia start. So this one will be being packed up away. Quite happy with how that's coming along, especially on the green fabric. It really pops out. And liking the colour combination. This chart was a little bit harder to decipher. I'm just going to show you a quick little bit of it. You're not going to be able to see much, but there's no symbols. It's just colours. And as you can see in the red, I had to check and double check and check and double check. So that was a bit painful. So that'll be something I'll be looking at in this book, whether I keep it or not, because of the charting style. But all right, on to today's start. Woohoo, it finally came up on the Tiny Decisions app. It was gonna, if it didn't come up by the 31st of May, it would have been WIP number 31, but it came up on its own accord. So we're doing the Blue Flower Quilting Bee, which was released at market this year. Isn't it just gorgeous? So I'm doing mine on some 16 count tea-dyed Ada, and I'm using the DMC conversion. It does call for gentle arts, but I don't have any of the gentle arts, so I'm going to be using some DMC. And this is sort of the colourway that we're going with. So let's get started on the quilting bee. I'm going to start on the bee bottom, I think, in the middle. Isn't it just gorgeous? I'll check back in with you soon. I did not want to put this one down at all. It is so nice to stitch the quilting bee finally, and I don't know what it is, the Quaker sort of style really draws me in. I find it easy to stitch, it makes sense, and everything is even, I guess, and that's why I find it easy. So pleased with the bee bottom so far. It was really hard to stop. One more thread. So I put in over 300 on this one for the 26th of May. So not fussed now, whatever that Tiny Decision app brings up for tomorrow. How cool is that? (27th of May) and WIP number 27, and the Tiny Decision app picked Blossom. This chart was one again that I got off the Bendy Stitchy D Stash on Instagram. It's by Carolyn Manning Designs, and it came with the crocheted little blossoms, I guess you could call them. So again, a bit Quaker style, lots of little, like really just the tree and lots of little flower motifs. So I'm going to be stitching this on a 36 count even weave that I've hand dyed myself with a green Rit. It came with the embellishments, and I think it's super pretty. So let's see how this one stitches up. I'm going to be really boring with this one and probably start with the brown for the stem, just so I can get that part right and go from there. I'll check in with you once I've got some work on it. This is the progress that I got done on Blossom yesterday. So pretty boring really, just up and down straight stitches, but it's doing the foundations to do the fun stuff a bit later. So I've set this up ready for some as a travelling project or while the kids are at sport. So it's not really much counting. And as you can see, or can you? So I had to do 90 odd stitches up, so every 10, so they're just, can you see? They're single crosses. And then on the 10th one, you cross it over, so it just makes counting a little bit easier, but also in the car, it's just 4 stitches across and up and down, and then I'll come back and do the branches. But happy with the way that's coming along, even though it is quite simple, but looking forward to doing more of the interesting stuff at a later date. So let's see what the Tiny Decision app brings next. Whip 28 is going to be the Jardin Christmas. Sort of like a little sampler. Quite cute. It looks big, but it's not. It's only 120, was it 120 by 110? And everything is in French. So this will be interesting. Cute little design, coffee, 18 count, coffee and tea dyed Ada, DMC flosses. So it didn't call for any specialty threads, it was all just DMC. So we'll see how we go. I'm going to start in the top right hand corner and try and do this little corner decorative piece and the church today. That's my main aim. If I get more than that done, I will. Maybe the little baubles. I'm not sure what that says. Oops, sorry. Maybe that's a French word. Not sure. So we'll see how we go with that one and I'll come back to you with some progress. Not a massive start, but it's still a start. This is where I got to on the Jardin Christmas sampler. Quite happy with how the colours are coming out on the tea dyed Ada. I did get the little corner and the church done. That was my first goal. I would have liked to have got a bit more, but just didn't get the time today. So that's where we are with that one. And we'll see what the 29th of May brings. Good morning, it's Wednesday the 29th of May and we've got Welcome Spring for my 29th whip. Now you may recall I did mention before that I won a giveaway from Angie at Angela Meyer and this is what I won. So because it came fully kitted, I did put it straight into the possible whips that might have start for May on the Tiny Decisions app and it came up today. So this is what we've got. It's Welcome Spring by Little House Needleworks, which was a complimentary chart. Quite nice little cute chart there, and Angie kitted it up for her giveaway with some linen, the classic Colourworks called for threads and the DMC, and she also sent me a gorgeous little pair of scissors. So that was really exciting to receive. So thank you, Angie. I just love it, and the classic Colourworks threads are just beautiful. So let's get started. I might start on the bottom right hand corner here on this one with the flowers. So let's see how we go. So this was all I got for today with my start on Welcome Spring because I've got to go to work, unfortunately. So I had decided to sub out the prairie grass, which is called for in the chart, for something a little bit more pastel and green, only because the prairie grass really wasn't popping on the fabric. So I chose an anchor thread. What number is it? Not very clear, 264, and I think that works beautifully with the pink, the purple, and also the colour of the fabric. So I'm really happy with that sub in, and it means I can leave the prairie grass for something a bit later on. So really happy with how that came along. As you can see, it's only a tiny start, but a start nevertheless. So that one I'm looking forward to getting back to, and it should be a nice quick little stitch when I can concentrate and devote my time into that one. So thank you again, Angie, and we'll see what whip number 30 will be. Whip number 30, my Lizzie Kate Tea Crazy. Now this is the one, if you've watched my previous videos, that I actually finished once already and then ruined in the finishing with some glue, and I had to toss it. So it's a bit of a sore point, but I did want to redo it, so I did put it back in my wheel of new starts and it came up. So here we go again with Tea Crazy by Lizzie Kate. Typical pretty colourways from Lizzie Kate. I'm doing it on 14 count tea-dyed Ada. You got to use tea-dyed Ada when it's a tea pattern. So I forgot to film this morning before I actually started, so this is where I got to on Tea Crazy. So I've done one mug, and I'm going to do, like I did last time, the 3 mugs. I'm going to put the teapot above that with Tea Lover again. I'm not going to put little cups of friendship or tea for 2, just the Tea Lover without the official. So actually I didn't mind doing it. I thought I'd be really like, here we go again, but no, I did it and it was nice and simple. So this one might get whipped out quite quickly. So we'll check in for tomorrow. It's the 31st of May, the last day of Maynia for me, and we spun up the Easter Spring Trio. And these are a group of that I've just grouped all together, but I can't bring myself to do them. I'm going to have to cheat and choose Quaker Christmas 2. This has been on my whip wanting to start for a long time, and it's a big piece. So I decided that the Tiny Decisions app wasn't going to make the decision for the very last day in Maynia. I was. So this is Bygone Stitches, Quaker Christmas 2, Songs of the Season. Now I have, during Maynia, I was watching Pam from Stitching Between the Lines, and she was showing her finish of this one, and I'm like, I have to get that out before the end of Maynia and make a start on it. And it is huge. Now this is a PDF that I purchased, so I've only printed it in black and white, but there's mainly red and a little bit of green sprinkled through the Quaker. But the size of this fabric, oh my gosh, it is a huge, huge piece. And Pam's finished piece was massive as well, so I don't think I've made a mistake with the fabric there. So colour choice wise, I'm going to use this DMC variegated floss. I did want to use a Silks For You variegated hank, and I'd been holding out and looking, but there was nothing that was really a deep red, so I've decided to the fact that I'm going to have to use the cotton. I do have this in another Christmas one, a Christmas tree, but that one I wasn't really too happy. Well, the pattern didn't really speak to me that much, so it might get less love, and this one might take over with the variegated thread. So it's got quite a bit in it, but when I was stitching it on the other chart, it really didn't come through. So I'm hoping with this one being Quaker, it might be a bit more obvious with the variegation. So let's get started. And of course, I'm going to have to start in a corner, and I do top right as I am left-handed and work away from myself. So I'll be starting, nothing too fantastically interesting, but that motif up in the corner. So I'll check back in with you at the end of 31 May. Bye. Love, love, love this chart. What a fantastic way to end Maynia. Every time I do Quaker, I just love Quaker that little bit more. I don't know what it is, I just find it so relaxing and abstract nearly doing it. So this is where I got to on Quaker Christmas. You can only see half of this motif in the picture, but the fabric is ginormous. And this is, I used the DMC, the DMC 115, and it gave some great variegation. It was a little hard, I must admit. It was a bit tricky because what I did first of all was I did the border, and in hindsight, in saying that, it's quite obvious that the colourway is different. So I don't know with the next motif, I might just go up and down rather than do, because before with this one, I did that, heart, that, and then I think my thread ended, and then I did that, and you can see as I've gone around. So I might try in the next motif just to go up and down and go across the motif to try and give it that gradient look. I've got so many motifs to play with this one. I'm not mad that it's all a little bit wabi-sabi, as Kitten Stitcher would say, but I'm really happy with it. Love doing it. Can't wait to get back to it. So that is a wrap up of Maynia. I will come back at the end of the video and finish off my vlog, and I'll see you in a minute. I hope you enjoyed my Maynia for 2019. This is what the result looks like. These are my projects and project sleeves, I guess you could call them. No, that's not 31. I also have this. So I went from a small basket that sat outside my stitching chair to now having a full cube in my craft room of projects. So I've got lots to choose from, but this is a good way I found of storing them. I've got a couple of fabric project bags which I use, which will always stay in my basket to keep them nice and upright. So I need to get a few more nice ones. And other than that, I use laptop bags. And then when I ran out of laptop bags and I had to go to the El Cheapos of these sort of folders, which are cheap and easy to use, and they're great for the little projects because you don't need a full size project bag for them. 25 designers, 31 whips. I've got some stitching and finishing to do. I won't be back for 2 weeks, so I'm going to come back in the middle of June to show you how my progress is going with my sales and also the Shell McKinney challenges. So looking forward to that and getting my teeth into some stitching for a couple of days on 1 or 2 projects, so that should be good. As I said, it is it's Saturday the 1st of June. So for everyone in the Southern Hemisphere, welcome to winter. And for everyone in the Northern Hemisphere, enjoy your summer. I will see you back in 2 weeks' time.